Hey everybody. In today's video, I'm going to show you a very simple technique for creating the look of fog or an atmospheric effect for your cards. And this is very simple. It just combines two different colors of ink. So I have an image here that I've stamped in a green ink, and I actually removed the first layer of ink off of there. So I inked up the stamp and then I dabbed a little bit of the ink off. And I'm using the same color just to sponge some ink onto the trees. You want this all to be very fuzzy and soft. So I'm just creating that look with the same color of ink. And that way it's kind of harmonious versus black can be a little bit harsh in this sort of foggy environment. So now I'll take a brown. I was going to create a little path, so I kind of cut one of the sponges a little bit thinner so I could create just a little walkway kind of from this little forest. I'm going to put the ink pretty dark on here because I'm going to add some more of the ink in a lighter application to create the rest of the ground. So I wanted there to be a little bit of contrast. So I'll just basically tap a bunch of the ink off and then apply it to the ground. And then I will add a sky with a little bit of a blue ink as well. So once you get that how you like it, again, this is just very soft. You can use a blending brush, you can use a sponge, but you want it to be kind of almost blurry the way that it looks when it's foggy outside. So I'll go straight up to the horizon line. It's hard with a tool like this kind of to be super precise, but the good news is you really don't need to be precise because you want that softness in this image. So I'll darken the edges a little bit. I like the kind of vignetting technique where you make the corners just a little bit darker. And then I will grab a blue ink and I will finish this. So because the trees are already a green, I don't worry about kind of blending around them and getting close to them with the blue ink because those are analogous colors and it's not going to look bad if you overrun the green with a little bit of this kind of light teal color. It's actually going to look pretty harmonious. So I am going to go back and fix a little spot at the horizon. I had a little bit of a gap and I wanted that to go up sort of where the lines in the stamp go up. Now for the super easy part. I have a little bit of paint. You can use acrylic paint. You can use a reinker. I tend to go for the acrylic paint. I like the opacity of it. I like the way it looks. And I'm just going to kind of scrub it on in a circular motion and then just blend it out. The other thing about acrylic paint is that it gives you a little bit of time. So if you can see I had like some little streaks where there's a little more paint on one side of the sponge than the other. It gives you time to blend that into the background and make that all smooth and really give you that atmospheric, kind of almost spooky look all over there. So when you're working with ink, since the concentration of ink, especially like water-based inks or pigment inks even, are a little bit thinner than acrylic paint. And so you may not have as much time to work with the white layer as you do with acrylic paint. But you could try a reinker. You could try a distress ink, a white distress ink, because those tend to stay wet a little bit longer. But I just really like the ease of the white paint. I feel like I have a lot more control. So I'm going all over the image. So the fog obviously would also be in the sky and not just on the ground, but you can see why I went so dark on the little path because you're going to be obscuring a lot of the image with your paint. So I will just blend that all out. You do wanna make sure that you're going to let this dry completely before you do any stamping on it. I did add a sentiment on top of this, but you wanna make sure that that is completely dry. Even if you are heat setting it, which if you are heat setting it with a heat gun, be sure and stay pretty far away from the paint because you can bubble acrylic paint. I don't have a really thick layer on here, so it's fine to just use it like a regular heat gun, but if you have a thicker layer, you'll wanna just be careful that that heat doesn't get too hot. So here's what it looks like when it's finished. Thanks so much for watching.